Hey guys, it's been too long, and we're back. That's right. It's very exciting. We're back, and it's Mother's Day. So you're tuning in to a full hour of a Mother's Day episode right here at Friends with Death Benefits. Enjoy. Back in the studio. I bet you didn't think you'd hear us again. I bet you were hoping you didn't.
Here we are.
But here we are. We are back, and it's Mother's Day, dude.
We took a month off to get our heads right a little bit.
Oh, man.
It didn't really work.
Oh, man.
But,
it got worse. We are sicker than we have ever been, guys. Oh, man. Yeah. So we thought we'd come back on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
On Mother's Day. So here we are.
Hopefully you're all having a good Mother's Day.
It is... Yeah.
It is a thing.
It's a thing. It's here. I'm lucky, though, because I still have one kid that's alive.
Yeah.
So
That's a good way to look at it. And this is one of the few shows where you could just say that and it's normal.
Yeah, I mean...
Maybe,
Yeah.
do they, and I'll look at, through my Hallmark selection and I'll see if I can find a, hey, thanks for still being alive card that maybe you could declare. It's very specific, but,
There's got to be one out there.
Hey, remember that time when well, thanks for being alive. Appreciate it.
You're the best gift.
I'm only half as devastated as I would have been if you weren't.
Yeah.
So.
What if there's got to be some sort of card that's like, yeah, basically a high pressure situation where it's just like, listen, you're it. You're all I've got. But well more articulated.
Where's your last bullet in the chamber section? I'm looking for like. It's gonna be right next to in between sympathy and anniversary. You're gonna find. If you went to the googly eye Jesus cards, they're still there from Easter. You went too far. We call that a callback in the comedy business. For true fans of the show.
Oh, good stuff. We got Joel Malone in the
He's
in the
here.
studio.
What's
Yeah.
up?
He's usually our engineer, and sometimes we just like, hey,
Yeah.
come hang out with us.
Yeah.
I get to move 6 feet.
Yeah.
You moved six
The
whole
other
feet.
side of the window.
Of the glass wall.
That's right. It's nice to have you in studio.
I honestly did not come here thinking of the gravity of what this episode was going to be about. Like I am so.
I didn't either.
You can't back out. It's
No.
too late. He heard that intro and he's like, shit.
I'm like, oh my god. Okay, yeah, Mother's Day. God, Justin's going to be having a rough one, and then oh god, you're a mom too. Jeez,
Yeah,
Louise, what am I doing right now?
Yeah, what are you? What the hell, Joe? You
Yeah,
wanted to be here.
I'm strangely torn between like, man, I want all my friends and family that don't have a weird mom situation to have a good mom's day because I don't want them to feel the way I feel. And I want you to feel as horrible as I do. This day will forever be dark, forever cloudy. No, it's interesting because, we're on two different but strangely similar ends of that coin today.
Yeah.
Me celebrating, fuck, that's weird to say.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it anyways because it
Marking.
just sounds weird.
Marking.
Yeah.
Like a dog.
First Mother's
Lift
Day.
your leg on this day. Lift it.
This is going to be an interesting episode, guys. We're so excited to be back. But, yeah, it's my first Mother's Day without a mother that's alive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's your first Mother's Day without your son. And that's pretty intense.
Yeah.
I mean, in
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah. It's pretty gross. I hate
It's a
it.
good word for it.
Yeah, it's gross.
I find it to be gross.
Yeah, I find it to be gross. Gross. I think that's the word I would say to describe this whole experience. Is just, and I know I've said it to you so many times, like,
Different
dude,
shades of
I just feel
gross.
gross.
Mhm.
It just feels gross today, or like, ew, gross. Like
Yeah.
it's just it's
Like
different
before, no, different, but still gross.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's many different
The
hues
evolution
of
of gross.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, it's interesting, to be without, and I really try to, we've taken all this time kind of off, and the idea was just I was just kind of spiraling there, and I just was I don't know. I cannot articulate like what goes the feelings I have because these are all new and I don't know. There's no words for them, but but yeah, I'm not sure that I've quite hit a stillness in the spin out. I'm still spinning out a little, but there's days like today that they're heavy, and that's just the way that it's going to be forever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the gross part is like, okay, yeah. And I don't know. I've just been I've been in just this weird space,
I like to think like we'll get used to the heavy, but like I said, it's our first time dealing with it this specific day.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah,
it's weird.
yeah.
It's for sure weird.
I was talking to Rachel that we had on the show, Colton Young's mom, the young man who died in that car accident, and prom was last weekend, and Trent, Colton's best friend, which we talked about on the show, was in the car with him, and so it was their first prom. And so Rachel was there at Central Park and taking pictures and just trying to be there for this young man, and Rachel said he didn't smile the entire time they were up there. And so it's like that's how this rippled effect happens. It affects so many
For sure.
people, and
people don't think about it either. Like, I don't think any of us stop to think of like how much other people we affect. You know what I mean? Without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like where our absence would, what that would do.
Which is precisely why I have not offed myself. Because, I mean, truly,
You're
like
hyper aware of that.
hyper aware of that. I mean, not to go like real dark here, but there's been moments, if just full transparency, where it's like I know the difference between like escapism and like, what are they, ideations or whatever, but there's definitely some escapist thoughts that happen. I think anybody's normal life. And so, but I think what separates the escapist thoughts from the ideations and the following through with making plans and things like that is that ripple effect,
Without these people, I'd probably pull the wheel to the left.
Absolutely. And like, because what would it do? I mean, I know what it does. I know what it does. And yeah, so yeah, that's some hard truth. Hey, it's true though, it's really true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. It's interesting for you too, because you, with your sister,
Right.
that specific,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know exactly what that feels like.
Yeah. I think about people who have like chronic pain issues. If you've ever met somebody who has, rheumatoid arthritis or whatever, or lupus, or just you name it, any one of those terrible things. And like, imagine what it's like to live with the physical pain and just that escapism, where it's just like, I would do anything to be out of this pain. And that's the moments that, and I know I talked to you like a couple weeks ago about it. It's like, I would just do anything to be out of this emotional pain. But
it's interesting too, because like, I would say that before this year, I didn't really experience anxiety, really. I was lucky enough to live, over 30 years and remain a pretty cool customer, all things considered. And I think the reason I can say that is because I've dealt with it a lot since, and now I'm very aware of what anxiety is. And I don't remember feeling these feelings prior, a lot of them. And some of them are super intense, and things when people would talk about it before, suffering from anxiety and stuff, if you don't know, you don't know. And it's like, it's easy to be like, what? Just tell yourself you're fine.
right.
And I remember, the episode we did with with Lisa and, you know, her friend who committed suicide, who had such bad anxiety that she's like, I just didn't want to feel like that ever again.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I've never had it that bad,
Mm-hmm.
but to think about how I have felt times, you know, whatever, 100, 1,000, I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine. So it's like,
Yeah.
Do you ever counter that though with the thought of good times, or can't you escape that thought process when you're in it?
it's becoming
like,
a little easier.
I can't go on thinking like this. You know, if it's
Yeah.
been a whole day, do you ever go, but what about that time where we took the dog for a walk and it was a beautiful day, you know,
Right.
and try and fight your
Yes.
own mental state?
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
getting a little easier. I'm still finding I'm struggling with like a weird guilt about it. Like it's almost like I, in a weird way, feel like I'm still supposed to be bummed out. You know what I mean? Where it's like, have I not given like, oh,
Maybe not giving it.
yeah,
enough
or like
time.
if I'm gonna be, you know what I mean? It's like, well, yeah, and like because my wife will do that a lot. You know, she'll bring up Mother's Day is also interesting because a year ago was the last time like we really spent like some quality time with her,
Sure.
where she wasn't, you know,
Mm-hmm.
no, at least you know, there's probably some booze I imagine when you're
Yeah, but
that
relatively.
deep. But
going
yeah,
out,
it was a good experience, and I cooked, and it's weird to think. And I'm also seeing, you know, like we've talked about the Facebook memories before. Like I just had one yesterday, you know, where she commented on something I had posted a year ago, and it's like we're very close to whatever the last one would have been, you know, or I mean, like, or to think about, you know, she posted like it was about we went on a walk to Lime Creek, and like the bluebells bloom about this time every year, and I really like to go check those out. And she just commented how pretty the flowers were, and I'm like, man, like a month left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just comment on Facebook. You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah. I was having a similar. I don't know what it is about the beautiful weather, you know, and I think
Right.
we even talked about this in episodes. Like, oh, once it gets nice out, it's going to be easier to digest.
Yeah.
This a horrible shitstorm we're in. But I'm driving back from, you know, trade show over the weekend, and it's just beautiful. You know, it was a really windy day, but it was really warm. It was like 85 degrees, something like that. And like these are the days that us as North Iowans relish.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Says the skinny person in the room. 85 degrees.
not good.
Not
it
good.
was. Listen, there was like 30-mile-an-hour winds. Okay, nobody was sweating that day. Get in the shade. Like, stop being a bitch. But yeah, I hear you. But yeah. So, anyways, I'm driving home, and it's like 6:30, you know, and it's like right when the sun starts to come on over, and everything's kind of gold, and you have this beautiful green on everything now, and I had my windows down and my hand, you know, out the car window, and I'm just really drinking it in, and man, like right now, it just this beauty. And how this beauty is so tainted now with, and these exceptionally wonderful moments of pure joy, like that hand out the window, and the, you know, the sun-kissed, you know, cheek, and that sort of thing is what I would describe as pure, unadulterated joy. But it never comes in pure form, because it's always tainted now.
They're not around for it.
Yeah, well, and it's also like, but like what you were saying, Joe, about like, do you allow yourself to stay in that, or do you tell yourself things, you know, to sort of get yourself out of it? And so, I cried and cried. I like wept hard on the drive back, because it's like an hour and 20 minutes away, and I mean, just my face was just soaking wet, and my shirt was soaking wet. And I don't even think I realized that I was crying that hard, you know, but it was just coming. And I think I realized kind of halfway through that a lot of what I was feeling and what I was thinking about wasn't sad. It started out with like him not being here. And then it ended up like this is what his life is like every day. These moments of this joy and this purity, and and so I turn it. I have to turn it on its head, or I will go and stay in this dark place. And then I did something I had never done before, and I just started talking to him out loud. And I'd never done that before. And I thought I was like, this is going to be weird. But I was saying the things in my head, to him. And so then I just started saying them out loud. And it just, it was like I had a full on conversation with him. Like, what is it like there? Like, I can't wait to be with you, and, things like that. And it was so liberating, and it felt so good. And it was exactly what I needed in those moments to have. And there is something really powerful about being able to speak things out loud. I miss you. I fucking miss you. I hate this, and being able to sort of give it the room. I talk about that a lot, like giving stuff the room it needs, but also to say those things out loud. There's something really powerful about that, but then it loses its power. It loses the gravity somehow. I don't know. And at the end of the drive, I felt so relieved, and I felt so much lighter, and it was good, and it felt really good. And I guess I just maybe need to be doing that more often or something like that, because it was just a different experience. Because, when you get really sad, or when you start thinking about things, you start thinking about this awful, and how you just get this kind of turtled up feeling and this tightness. And it was almost like I released the pressure valve on it. So I would encourage you to try it.
Was the sadness because you wanted to share that day with him, that experience with him?
I wanted to share that moment.
You wanted him to be next to you.
Yes.
Well, maybe you wouldn't even talk, but just there.
That is exactly what it was. Yes, exactly.
And then by talking to him, he was there.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
You can escape, and I'm not a doctor.
No.
But it's the feelings of, I hate this beautiful day because this person's not here. You can make them be there. I mean, Obviously not physically, but mentally you can make them be there and share that day with you.
And it felt real. It felt exactly like that. It felt like, it's like I didn't even need to look over at the passenger seat, because I just felt him there. And it reminded me of how I have always felt him there, but I don't talk to him. I don't speak to him. And it was a sharing of that moment with him that I didn't need to keep inside. I hated that moment. I hated that day for being so beautiful and with this absence. But by being open to this verbal communication, it turned it on its head, and it was an incredible thing. So yeah, that's you should be a Dr. Joe. Dr. Joe in the house.
I don't.
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah, for me, it's there's so many random little thoughts that go into the bigger thought of that. For me, all the little things like that,
Yeah.
wind, sun, rain, smells, leaves changing.
Yeah.
It's the world just keeps going, and it's hard to grasp still, she's just, it's not a part of it anymore.
Mm-hmm. But isn't she? That's the
and
thing.
that's I think what I struggle with. I'm not quite, what I mean? I don't
you don't see that
I have
beauty.
to just stop thinking about it. That's my only release, is because I'm not there,
Yeah. I get that.
I hate to say it, but more often than not, I just feel like the lights are out.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of on cruise control? Or?
She's just gone.
Well.
Yeah.
And that's that part of my life is just over.
Yeah.
And I don't really have that hope.
Yeah.
And it's pretty shitty.
Yeah.
But I'm super glad that you do. You know?
I am too. I am. And I want more than anything. I want people to be able to have that, you know, especially the people I love and care about and I'm watching suffer. Like I know it will come. And I hope that you know that it will come. It will come. You just have to be open. But it's like, how do you get there? How do
I
you
gotta find a way to figure it out, though.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
Because
Yeah. Dr. Joe, what do you think?
Well, one thing that I've done, and granted, it was it was a friend that passed away that actually meant a lot to my career that I have. Mm-hmm. And there'll be days where I miss him, and I just, not even out loud, but just in my head, like if I have a badass day at work,
Yeah.
I thank my buddy Wayne. Like, Wayne, thank you.
Yeah.
Because, and I found that to be comforting, you know, just thanking, because, you know, Grandma's up there. My alarm didn't go off, but yet I woke up on time. Okay. Thanks, Grandma.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Thanks for looking out
sure.
for me.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
Did she do that?
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Right.
we're going to say she did because it makes me feel good inside.
Right.
So when something good happens in your life, you can thank this person that's gone because you can make them a part of those good moments. So it's like the good moments aren't over.
That's so good.
With your loved one just because they're gone. They can still be a part of new good moments for you.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
That's like
so,
a coping mechanism that I use.
That's so good. Yes. It is dope how you cope.
If you're going to get merch, put that on the shirt.
Yeah, for sure. I'm making it.
The copeness with the dopeness. Friends with death benefits.
That's right.
But that's one thing that I've done, and I don't know if that would be of benefit to anyone else. But I just kind of give thanks to, you know, mainly my buddy Wayne for the goodness that I have in my life because of my career. Sure. Because I got the job offer for this job that I have now the same day that he died.
Oh, wow.
I did not know, and I don't mean to derail our conversation at all, but I mean, just so a little bit of background about like what's a dead guy got to do with radio?
No, I want to know about Wayne. Yeah.
Wayne was a friend of mine from high school on until he passed in his mid-20s. And he went to my college graduation, radio college, and thought it was the coolest thing ever that he got to hang out with like DJs. Like, you're going to go off and take over the world. Like all these people, it's going to be amazing. Yeah. Unbelievable that, you know, you let me into that world and whatnot. And in all reality, it's a bunch of nerds like drinking Pepsi and trying to, you know, guess what song's coming on to the radio next. That was our graduation party. Super lame. But he was always very proud of me for following the dream, getting out of the neighborhood and following the dream, whatever the dream was. And then was out of a job in radio, got the call that this job was available, and was super excited about it, just having the most amazing day ever, until about 2 hours later, found out that Wayne was dead. And so...
Was this sudden?
It was... He had health issues, but it was not expected.
Okay.
And I just knew at that moment that me getting this job opportunity and getting back into what I'm really, really good at was because of him. Yeah. Like, because he had died the day previous, but, you know, just didn't know, next of kin, all that other sort of stuff going on. And so I feel like he went up and was like, hey, I'm Wayne. Here's what's up. Hook my buddy up with the job.
Yeah, wow.
And so anytime something good happens, I thank him.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said with my grandma, if I, you know, just some random grandma like thing, like get up.
Yeah, right.
It's like, thanks, Grandma. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I'm on it.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, I love that.
But that's, I don't know. And granted, those deaths happened long ago.
Yeah, so, but they still are. It's still a part of your life so much still.
Yeah.
I mean, because they were a part of your life for so long. That is pretty cool. What do you think about that, Justin?
I like that. I like all of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to just be able to say like, yeah, I'm going to do all that. You know what I mean? And I'm going to take all of it with very serious consideration.
Yeah.
I do need to figure out a way to feel better in certain moments. Because like I said, I don't, I have to just stop thinking about it. I have to distract myself. Distraction is still my best friend. I have hope that when all this jazz with her husband is done, I'll be able to find some type of peace and move on. But it's like, me and Liz were just talking the other day how like she always was like, always protected me from anything. You know what I mean? My whole, even far longer than any parent should have to. You know what I mean? Like well into my adult years, she just was my safety net. And maybe that's why I never worried that much. You know what I mean? But
that's why you didn't have the anxiety.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's not around to save us from this jackass anymore. Right. And I still don't know for sure what's going to happen. Right. But maybe when it's all said and done, I'm still going to be breathing. I'm still going to have Liz. I'm still going to have my dog. And I'll have somewhere to lay my head. And like you've said, I won't have to deal with him anymore. Right. And maybe that will be a big part of it. I'm hoping.
Are you afraid to not have anybody to be angry at? Have you thought about that? Like, because all of the anger that you have about the situation, you can direct it somewhere and at him because he's such a piece of shit.
Maybe, but I also feel like this is all making it feel like it's not done. Like it's, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, closure.
And it's just like keeps going. And I don't know what's going to happen. And like the not knowing sucks.
Yeah.
But also I think about like you were just saying, like this, you know, with COVID, we had no idea what comedy was going to look like coming out of it. You know what I mean? Going in, it was scary as shit. It was, okay, we're going to slow way down. And coming out, we were like, we want to keep doing this, but we don't know what bar owners are going to want to do. We don't know how long it's going to go on. We don't know. And it's been just like a rocket taking off for us. And we've been just busier than we ever could have hoped to be. And getting respect from people we never got respect from before. And our May is, we have 11 shows in May, which is crazy. May's usually a slow month. And I think about that. I think about like my mom. I don't think my mom wasn't proud of me for all the things I did, but if it was something she could get behind, like with like truly get behind and enjoy, it was easier for her to be that boastful, prideful mom. Like, for example, like I started a metal band and toured across the country playing songs that I wrote. She didn't really want to tell her friends about that much.
Tell me some of the song names. No.
You're right. And it was always like, Justin, you're going to grow up and you'll get over this heavy, angry music and you'll realize that, you know, that's not where it's at. And I'm just like, no, I won't, Mom. Yeah.
This is a part of who I am.
And then with comedy, you know, it was, I think she knew I was the kind of person that goes after stuff full force. And she saw what I was doing, you know what I mean? And she was proud of it, but it was like, how can you say those horrible things on stage? You know what I mean? Like,
what's one of Justin's jokes?
Yeah, like, oh, I can't.
Oh, right, yeah.
But the cover band I was in that played Sublime and Weezer songs at Laredo's that all the hippie girls love to dance around to. Now that's something a mom can get behind. And she loved that shit and couldn't help but brag about it to everybody she saw. And to me, I was just always like, I'm in two bands, and it's like, yeah, they're both fun, but this one's like, there's like a label in Minneapolis talking to us, and we're touring multiple states, and I wrote these songs, and it's like, you're just like, yeah, but
you do these
but
covers.
When you play at Laredo's and you play other people's songs, now that's fun. And by coincidence, at the end of this super busy month, a band that we used to gig with a lot, kind of like a Sublime kind of reggae type band called Tug from La Crosse. They are playing the first show back at the Surf Ballroom this May, or in a couple weeks when they open up after all this COVID stuff. And he's like, their singer got a hold of me and was like, do you guys want to put the band back together and open up the show. And I'm like, well, it's a surf ballroom. So yeah, we do. And so I keep thinking, and I just learned today that there's like one table left.
Nice.
So
That's great.
there's still booths, but it's looking like we could sell out, which is pretty incredible. And that was always kind of my Super Bowl for me as a musician in North Iowa. I always wanted to play the surf, but not just like, oh, I got to play the surf because I have played it. I want to play the surf. You know what I mean?
Right.
With the full crowd and the sound and the lights and the
Gosh.
and
this is the first live music event in forever.
a long time. And it's
Oh my gosh! I
At
just
the surf, yeah.
Yeah.
And I also just did comedy at the surf last month, so will have performed on that stage with 2 different artistic mediums, so I think it's pretty rare air.
Yeah.
And as a North Iowa diehard, I have a lot of pride in that. And it's like I keep thinking about like what that's going to be like, because I know my mom would have loved that shit.
I'll share it with her.
There you go. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when you get off the stage, I wouldn't do it before just because you don't,
Right.
know what that's going to do to you. But when you get done and you're watching, it's Tug, right?
Yeah.
And you're watching them side stage, be like, Mom, this is pretty cool.
Yeah. I made it. That's a big moment.
I hope I can do that.
Or, practice first. Say, hey, Buddy Holly, this is pretty
Yeah,
cool. 'cause
right.
he's there.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
he's
I
always
love
there.
that.
And so if you get feedback from him, then be like, hey,
Right.
for real, dude, make some room. I want to talk to my mom.
I mean, to go back in those rooms
That's
and
what's so weird.
and those
to me.
signatures, and to touch the wall with all of these iconic signatures of all
Right.
all different artistic mediums.
MWC's on there.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
And I don't.
I'm on there.
right? I'm technically. I mean, we played there in 07, but that's a whole crazy story as to why it wasn't the full
But yeah,
surf experience.
Yeah,
but
I love that.
well, I said I'm not fully there with the whole. I don't know where my mom's at, and sometimes I don't think she's anywhere. I do find it hard to believe that this world just accidentally happened. I like to think there's something. You know what I mean? I don't.
Oh, yeah.
And I also felt things that are undeniable. And
Yeah.
like, for example, like I said, I'd been back in those rooms before, more than once, and it's very cool. And
It's
it wasn't lost on me how cool it was. But when I did the Clear Lake Prom last month, and I was back there by myself,
Yeah.
it was a very different experience. I don't know if you've ever been in that side room by yourself before.
That was the only time I've experienced it was alone.
But there's a certain
An empty
energy.
surf early in the morning or late at night is
Oh, I bet
It's eerie.
Yeah,
It's
that
very
I
eerie.
bet. But just being in that signature room alone, I had about 25 minutes to myself in there, and it was just there's an undeniable energy of like
yeah.
the amount of talent and like what I mean. It's noticeable,
Yeah.
and that's not something that can be ignored.
Well, that's the
either.
thing. Even if you don't believe in the afterlife or you don't believe in Jesus or whatever, like energy doesn't die.
Right.
So right?
well, and when you talk about the spirit of something like communicate with the spirit of your mother, it's not ooh,
Right.
Not that, but just the thought of her in your mind.
Yeah.
That's the spirit
That'd
that
be a
you're
dick
keeping
move
alive.
if she got all spooky on me like
Yeah.
that.
Ooh, you didn't use enough bleach.
Clip your
Wash
nails.
your sheets better.
I'm nagging you from the grave.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
But yeah, no, I mean, it doesn't have to be a god, a Buddhist,
Yeah,
Allah,
yeah.
whatever thing. It's just communicating with your loved one, your person, and it's a selfish act, but in a way, because you're doing it for yourself.
Yeah.
But if it helps, then it helps. And everybody likes to have somebody to share stuff with.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Yeah.
a spiritual selfie. Like, here we are.
Yeah.
Mom, look what's going
I
on.
love that. Yeah, for sure. You gotta try to encourage yourself to share that moment. That's a really big deal. It's a really big deal. Yeah, let her be a part of it, because she already is. So don't be a dick. Let her know. She's
Yeah,
around.
she'd be pretty mad if I didn't.
Yeah,
ask
if you
her.
didn't acknowledge your presence, right? Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So I mean, it's very cool to have so much exciting stuff going on, but there's always that other side of the coin where it's like, man,
Yeah,
I'd like to give her a call.
right.
Is the feeling worse after you get done with like a big expenditure of energy and emotion and all that stuff? Like,
It can be.
because like, okay, my distraction's gone and now all I have
Right.
left is this.
I do find, especially like on nights where like shows go really well. I've talked about this. I know we've definitely talked about it. I can't remember if we've talked about it on air or not, but it's strange to go from that, like, especially with comedy, because it's in a band, it's 5 dudes, but in comedy, it's you get that moment all to yourself, and to be like the center of attention to, like, for example, when we did the comedy festival in March, over 150 people, and for that 20 minutes, they were mine. They belonged to me, and I was completely in control. And you rarely feel cooler and more, energy and more intense. But then within an hour and a half, 2 hours, I'm home by myself in my living room with all my thoughts and my stuff and my life and my.
And you can't sleep because you still got energy.
Yep. And all those people have moved on with their lives and their stuff, which is perfectly normal. But it doesn't change the fact that I'm just sitting there like, huh, And it is hard sometimes, because it's like the next thing, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, I got through this day and I got through that moment.
Yeah.
But all that stuff still just sits right there. It just fucking just sits there. And sometimes you got to drag it along or push it out of your way, but I don't think it's going anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's supposed to. I don't know much. You know what I mean? I'm just figuring it out. But
When it comes to, you're having thoughts and they're not good thoughts, they're sad thoughts, stuff like that. To turn them into positive thoughts, have either of you, ever done activities that you did either with your son or with your mom, and you do it with the rest of your family? Because we've done that with my wife's mom. She's been gone a number of years now, but we'll make a recipe of hers together and get the kids involved.
Yeah.
And we'll go find her favorite kind of flowers and plant those and that sort of thing. So that way you can take, instead of, oh my God, I wish she was here, which is just, it's not possible.
Yeah.
You can be like, okay, we're doing something positive with our energy and our thoughts.
Yeah.
We're taking our thoughts and not letting them be bad. We're making them into good thoughts.
I'm still, it's really interesting that you bring that up, because my husband and I were just talking about this, but I'm still in a spot where I'm afraid to.
You don't want to do anything that was his thing.
Yeah, I'm afraid. So like, our backyard, especially through COVID, became our space. It was like our outdoor living space. We decorated it and it was all lit up, and we had like lifestyle family photos. We never have had family pictures taken ever. And so it just happened last summer to take lifestyle photos, which is, for those people who don't know what that is, it's basically like family pictures, but you're doing real life stuff. You're
Yelling.
You're yelling. No. You're shaking each other, slapping the shit out of each other.
Holding up 3 socks that don't match.
That's so good. Why didn't I think of that? Right. Yelling at your kids for not picking up the dog poop, So, yeah. So, anyway, our backyard, since it was all cool and decorated really cool, that's where we hung out, and that's where we did the lifestyle shots. And there was a lot of pictures of Claire and Ethan on the trampoline, because they loved the trampoline. And I have not even been in my backyard since, and I haven't set anything up. Claire has not touched the trampoline. Our neighbors, they have some grandkids, and they're young, and they're just 2 boys, just lots of energy, and they come over and use the trampoline when they're here in town, and they were out there this weekend, and it was so amazing to hear children laugh in my backyard. I hadn't heard that for so long, and I caught Claire a couple times just watching the boys, and I asked her, I said, do you think you'll ever jump again? And she said, I don't know. And I said, I don't know if I can, if I'll set the backyard up, I don't know, and I want to, and I was talking to Kyle about it, and I said, God, I just don't know if I can do it, Mus. And he is like, yeah, I want to, he's like, I want to do it, and I was like, you can do it. I just don't know if I'll be able to participate. But part of me wants to. I want to do those things. I do, but I don't know why. I'm afraid. I'm afraid to feel those last important things. Yeah.
I get that.
But I totally get that. And I think, and I don't know how long it took your wife with your mother-in-law, but obviously she can do those things and get enjoyment out of them, right? She enjoys those.
Yeah.
And living those.
And whether it's enjoying the activity or enjoying the memory of doing the activity.
Yeah. So.
And maybe she hates doing the activity. I don't know.
Yeah.
And enjoys the memory.
Right. Okay.
But when it's cooking, I mean, it turns out good. So
You're happy.
I'm happy.
I love that. Yeah.
But I mean, it's staying busy, but positive,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And
I think there comes a time, hopefully.
Yeah. And I want to get there, and I will get there, but there's something in my way right now.
And it's, you can't really plan your grief either, can you?
No.
I mean, you can't say, well, it's been 18 months. So my goal is within 18 months, I'm going to be doing this with my grief and be showing pictures of, my deceased to people. It'll be great. Like, you can't do that. Yeah. It's not like goal setting on January 1st.
Right. Yes. That's 100% true.
Here's my sad planner. September's looking good. We're gonna do some stuff.
No, maybe not. Just wake me up when it ends. Yeah.
Oh gosh, right? Yeah.
I was surprised at, I thought I knew which days would be harder than other days, and still. Granted, I'm almost to a year, and I think that's going to be hard. And I think Mother's Day today's Mother's Day, but I don't know. But her birthday was the hardest.
Yeah,
absolutely the hardest for me.
I think that will be hard.
Now, not to bring your wife into this, do you see your mother-in-law?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you got to put on a face for that for Mother's Day, or are you avoiding that situation?
No, I don't. I feel like it would be very selfish of me. I think they would let me. I think they would let me just hide in the closet all day if that's what I wanted to do. My wife, for some reason, so me and not that her and her mother aren't close, but me and my mom were close, but she's feeling the urge and the want and the need this year to make a much bigger deal for her mother and her grandma. And I don't know if that's because she has a different perspective now. That's probably part of it, but my mom was a very big deal to her too. So it's like she wants to, go have dinner with her mom and her grandma and stuff, and I'm here for it, and I'm gonna be the best me I can be, but
yeah,
I don't know. I will say that every time one of these things has come around, I think okay, this is how it's gonna be. And
yeah, I gotta figure it out.
Even the night before, and then I wake up and it's not how it is. You just kind of got to roll with it, I think. But like I said, I don't want to take away from anybody, and I don't think that's anyone would think that's what I'm doing. But
yeah,
like you said, it's not going to not happen. It's going to keep happening.
What was it like for your wife the first Mother's Day?
Horrible.
Yeah.
Well, and this year and last year too have been different because what it's been traditionally is her mother is buried right up near where my mother lives, and it's a jaunt to get up there, and so traditionally we would go up, and we'll probably do it again next year. I mean, who knows? Maybe the kids are going to be in 800 activities next year, and I
Right.
won't be able to escape town. But traditionally, it's been go up to my mom's.
Yeah.
You know, spend the weekend there, do the whole grandma thing, that sort of stuff, or even prior to the kids, you know, do the whole mom thing, and then go visit the grave site, clean that up because springtime, hopefully the snow's gone. You know, it's May, you can put stuff out at the grave site and, you know, just spend 5 minutes, spend an hour, spend 2 hours just sitting there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way that it has been. And then, you know, COVID happened. And so then,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, no, I'm not going to go see my vulnerable parents. That sounds like a really dumb idea right now.
Yeah,
So,
right.
There's a very interesting dynamic, though, too,
I mean,
as a couple, be going to visit your parents, but in two very different ways.
and that, no, it's not lost on me on how difficult that is. And
Does that make you appreciate that visit with your mom more, knowing that the visit she's having with her mom is
oh, yeah.
a lot different?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, if anything, we're lucky. I don't know if that's the right word to put, that our moms are so close together.
Yes.
That it's literally a 20-minute drive
Yes.
from my mom to her mom.
Right.
And so when we do go and visit up north, we can stop by and just, if nothing else, drive by and just make sure everything looks fine. Everything looks fine? Okay, good. Or we can stop and see who else from the family has been there and left a trinket or left a note and be like, oh, you know, your sister came up, or, you know, whomever stopped by and left this thing here. So, and look at your mom. She's got so much more cool trinkets than everybody else
Yeah,
here. So,
right.
I mean,
Yeah, right.
I don't know what their family's up to, but
Yeah.
not as cool as our family.
Yeah.
So,
Right. That's interesting too that you say that, because like, so always had a small family. My mom was adopted, and like an only child with her adopted parents, and so not a lot of like family. And so like my grandma and my mom were pretty important people to me. My grandma died in 2012, and she was born and grew up the first chunk of her life in Stout, Iowa, which is it's the third cornfield southeast of Parkersburg.
oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Sure.
There's just, so they cut a few stalks down and built a graveyard and a church, I think, and someone lives there. Maybe takes care of it. I haven't seen them, but
Bigger or smaller than Bolin?
oh, smaller
Smaller than
if
Bowling.
you can believe it. Yeah, maybe similar. I mean, it could be. It's probably but right there.
A
It's
one-way
good
dead end.
comparison.
For
Yeah.
those of you who are listening from out of state, like we're talking rural, like we're talking
You have gas stations with parking lots bigger than these towns.
right. It's yes.
No post office.
No
One
no.
church.
Doesn't
4
deserve
houses.
a zip code.
Yeah.
It's just it's crazy.
And some holes to bury people in.
That's right.
And so her birthday is in September, and my mom always made a point, because it's a kind of a bitch of a drive, and it's just in the middle of nowhere, and it's not like you can be like, oh, well, you know, we'll go do this.
We'll
when
stop
we-"
at Shucky's
Yeah,
on the way
there's
back.
literally nothing. And so you have to just decide we're going to do that because that's what we're going to do. And she made a very big point every year to go with Windex and paper towels and scissors to cut down any tall grass close up. And, you know, she would clean the shit out of Grandma's headstone. And I was always just like, God, this just seems like a lot. You know what I mean? And she would lay a blanket down and we would sit, you know, for a while. And I was always just like, as important to me as my grandma was, it was always like, oh man, like we're doing this.
This sucks. Yeah.
But now it's kind of like, I want to do it even more because it was so important to my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder what that's going to be like.
Did you
Because
guys
I plan
rake?
to do it.
Did you rake too?
They have a really good groundskeeper.
Okay.
Yeah,
'Cause I remember with my
a
grandma's
dude that takes
grave,
really good care of it.
we would rake.
And to go back to the, we don't know what's after this life or where we go or what we're doing. I had a moment a few years after Grandma had passed away where we went to go do that. And like I said, it was like late September, so fall had kicked in. It was pretty crisp. Most of the leaves are off the trees. And for some reason, me and Liz stayed a little longer, and we drove separate. And all the other people had gone, and we caught this and it's not a big graveyard. It's like a horseshoe type graveyard where it's just, you can see the whole thing from point A to point whatever, and we got this overwhelming smell of fresh flowers. Liz smelled it, I smelled it, and it's because it was so intense, we walked the whole graveyard to see if any grave had fresh flowers on it at all, because it was a breeze that caught it for us, and it was just gone after that, and there was nothing. There was just nothing that could have smelled that way anywhere near us. And I try to take that as a sign of something. I have not gotten anything like that from my mom.
Yeah.
But I like to think that I'm trying to stay open to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm listening to you guys talk about the plot, the cemetery plots and stuff. And two things go through my mind. God damn, I'm so glad I don't have to do any of that. Oh. Just because the pressure of having to keep it nice and
can you tell she hasn't been here in years?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Or the judgmental, Malone family that's just
you got no trinkets.
She don't put no trinkets on that boy's grave.
Unbelievable.
But there's something really beautiful about it too. As I'm listening to you guys talk about it, because cemeteries are so peaceful. One of my favorite places to hang out between appointments on my job is a cemetery. I will go to a cemetery. I will park. I will roll all my windows down and just sit there in the peace and quiet. It's beautiful. The birds are singing, if it's nice out or whatever, but it's so quiet. It's so still, and it is pretty cool. I'm glad that I'm not,
Are you 15 and listening to Typo Negative at the time, or what is?
I'd love to read the poetry you've been coming up with.
Stop.
The blackbird flies.
It's called a raven.
Life is a pointless void. I need to get to Hot Topic.
But really, stop it. Anyways, what I'm saying is try it sometime.
Have you ever heard the saying? You die twice, once when you pass away and once when the last person says your name.
Absolutely.
I think about that, going to her grave, my grandma's. My mom doesn't have one. That's a bucket of worms in itself. But I think about, you look around at the other graves, some of them super old, some of them, older than the ones you're looking at. Some of them not, some of them new. And you think some of them you're when was the last time somebody came here to do this for that person? Not knowing it was the last time, not intending for it to be, but it was. Every one of those ones that are just so old that you can hardly make them out anymore. And it's just we're all going to be there at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, I have such a different perspective on that. And that brings me to my second point, is that
you're super stoked on what's next.
I am, man. And I have the cremains of my child sitting on my piano that I walk by 150 times a day. I feel nothing about that box. Nothing.
You don't say hi to it?
No. In the beginning I would lay my hand on it, I would touch it, and just kind of to let him know I'm here or whatever. But I feel nothing about those cremains. And it doesn't... And actually, Claire and I were talking about this today. She even made this kind of flippant comment about my dead brother on the piano. And I was like... because that's what we do at our house, like it or lump it. And I said, well, I mean, that's not really your brother. I was like, that's just... it's the vessel. And that's what I really see. And I really see those headstones, and I see, these bodies that are in the ground, decay or whatever, becoming a part of the earth again and becoming a part of this great place that we have the opportunity to live in that we're absolutely 100% destroying. But But just because nobody is there to visit them, and just because the namesake dies, it doesn't make it any less important to this world that we live in at all. But it's beyond this, that like, for me, I just am so in this other space where I'm just like, I have this box with these things, this, these ashes and bone and whatever in it, but he is just everywhere and all around, and his energy is all around. And it's like, it's almost like palpable some days. And that's like, when I go to these cemeteries, that's what I feel, is this like, this vibration of energy. And like, it's really beautiful because our energy doesn't die. It just stays, and it's in this space now. And so like, I know that if Ethan were in that cemetery, I would never go, because it doesn't matter to me. And I know like people are probably listening to this and thinking it's so cold to say, but it doesn't matter to me.
It's not though.
It just does not matter.
It's liberating, and I know you enough to know that you fully believe it.
I really do.
And like, I hate to be the one to bring it, but I feel like that's what we do at this show, is we feel perfectly honest about our feelings. It's like where you said you feel like, like he's everywhere. I feel bailed on.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you going to be cremated?
Yes. I'm actually donating my body to science.
I'm weird about it. I don't know. I wish that I had a place to go. Like I said, like we're in different places when it comes to that. I wish I had a place to go see my mom.
Yeah.
Or even if I just had her. I think
I think there's that closure for you is going to be critical. Yeah.
Can you make a place?
I mean, yeah.
I have a plan, Joe. I already have a plan.
Well, no, I'm just saying you
Yeah.
can make a place and
Yeah.
create the symbolism around it that you need
Right.
to make that be the place. And, whether it is the right side of the rapids on Zerbald's Trail after you go across the wooden bridge.
Right.
And you go back 150 feet and there's a little alcove there where you can see the whirlpool spin. Maybe that's the place where your mom is. And so you can go there.
that.
And that's your spot, not your spot, but
I think
your
we
spot.
kinda, I think we kind of hit on that a little bit when me, you, and Mike did that episode.
Yeah.
I think you'd mentioned that, and I thought that was pretty cool. And I would love to get there too. I think the hardest part for me is knowing she's trapped in that house of this guy who he's the one that kept her from me when she was alive, and now he's keeping her from me when she's gone. And it's just like,
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I think Joe's right. Like, having a place to have that's just yours, where your mom can be, and whether or not her ashes or her body lays there, it's a place that's just for you. And I'll tell you, and you know who you are, you, as far as our listeners, we have people that are working on this for you. So yeah, you're gonna get there whether or not you want to get there, but you're gonna get there. And I think having that place is gonna be good. It'll be healing.
Or it could be your coffee table. I mean, if you don't feel like being active,
I do spend a lot of time near my coffee table. So.
you're like, oh my God, it's so cold
I
out.
do
I
have
don't want to
her-
go see mom. Mom, can you be by the
Right.
coffee table?
I was
today?
giving her right. My mother-in-law had a painting of her commission for Christmas, and that's hanging on the wall in my living room. And there is something about that. I can look up and see her.
Yeah.
It's as cool as it is hard.
Oh God, I feel that. You know, I have that gigantic picture of this beautiful boy in my living room, and there's days I just look at it and I'm just, for me, it's the photos. It's the real life, because like, like the person, like Wayne in your head, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have Wayne in your head. You have Wayne in your head that you talk to.
Yeah.
But when you see a photo, especially if it's a photo you haven't seen for a long time or never seen.
Didn't really change his look. He looked
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah. But isn't it something that still just is like, oh, it's like a different
Yeah.
hurt. It's like when the scab kind of breaks open a little bit.
Well, when it comes up around his birthday, because you get the whole, memorial Facebook page thing, and then
Oh,
everybody
sure.
starts, happy birthday,
Right.
Yeah.
miss you, brother. And I'm just like, oh, Jesus, it's already September.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, here we are. Let's deal with these thoughts. And that's, the sad, that's when the sad comes in for a little bit. But then you read through and you
Yeah.
realize how many people were touched by him.
Yeah.
Yeah, not in like a weird way, but
Well, we
like-
don't know.
It's a different Facebook page.
Yeah, that's a much different website.
This whole
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
subscription fee, and it's just this whole other thing.
the picture does make it feel more real. You know?
Yeah, that's it. That's what it is. It does. It makes it feel more real because it's this person was here and this person isn't here.
For
And
sure.
the only thing that you have now is this, it's encapsulated in time. And
Dude.
yeah, it's a good thing Wayne never changed his look because,
I think about that shit. Like, I think about, like, I'll see pictures of me and mom, like, my arm around her, like, my hand on her shoulder. And I'll look at my fucking hand and be like, this hand
right.
is still here.
Right.
She's not.
right.
And, like, you think about, like, I'm never going to walk around the corner and see her standing there again. I'm never going to bump into her at the grocery store again. I'm never going to hear her voice on the other end of the phone. I'm never going to, like, little stupid things you take, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'd,
So what Joe was saying earlier, so that I do these things, exactly what you're saying, but I do what Joe said and try to turn it and say, oh man, but I'm so glad that I had that. I remember this one time, or whatever.
I do think I'm going to get to that point. I really do.
You're right there.
Is it easier when you look at pictures that are off the cuff, non-staged pictures of fun days that you remember? Does that
It's
make it easier
harder.
for you? Harder.
It's harder.
Okay.
It's harder to accept because it's life in motion. It's
Okay.
life in motion. And so, you know what I'm saying? And
Well,
so,
I don't know if I'm just past that
Yeah.
with the different situations, but like I see pictures of people that are gone from my life, and it's us making a stupid face, or we're hanging out at a bonfire,
Yeah.
or somebody stole my hat and they're wearing it, which looks stupid because I got a giant head, and I get joy out of seeing that
Yeah.
instead of sadness
Yeah.
because it's and
Yes.
maybe that's the difference the time makes too.
that's the time. I'm sure of it. Yeah, I'm sure. It's
I
the
sure
time.
hope that's what it is, because I have, like, I've said this on the show too, where, like, I have never noticed before all this happened, like, my mom had a certain way of looking at me in pictures, and now I see it, like, in every single one of them.
Yeah, I see it with me with Ethan. The photo of you and your mom dancing at your wedding and the way that she looked at you was the first time I realized in all of my photos with Ethan, I'm looking at him the same way. So yeah, I get that.
Even, like, one I saw just recently of, like, so in 2019 me, her, and Liz went to California for a week, and that was a really tough vacation because that was when I truly realized how bad her alcohol problem had gotten. And it was, like, eye-opening and kind of devastating in a lot of ways, but at the same time it was like there was fun moments, and it was the last, like, vacation I got to go on with my mom. And there's just a picture of us sitting in the airport at a layover, like, having a conversation that Lissa snapped. Same look. And it sucks, but there's something comforting about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that was, like, her worst,
Yeah.
you know? And, like, as much as I felt like she was a different person, she was still looking at me like that.
That's beautiful. It really is. This is why you never have kids. Seriously. Like, oh my gosh, it's so hard. It's so hard. Yeah. Well, welcome back.
Yeah, dude. I think we knew it was going to be like this.
Yeah,
That's okay, though. That's why we're here.
that's right. Yeah. Good episode.
Thanks for hanging out with us, being sad sacks, Joe.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
I cried a little bit.
Let's
Yeah.
let's
You don't have to tell anybody, but I'm so glad you did.
let's end on a positive note.
Okay.
What do you have anything fun planned for your wife with the kids for Bailey for Mother's Day?
I was just asked this question earlier this week too.
Have the kids had any ideas?
I don't. If I can convince the kids to just leave us the hell alone until like 10 o'clock, I think that's going to be the best gift. I don't know. I'm probably going to get some Alstroemeriums because those are her favorite flowers, and even with the jacked up rices, still relatively cheap.
Nice.
You know, maybe breakfast in bed. I don't know. I don't think that can ever be played
That's
out.
classic.
So
Classic good.
that, and then I might cook lunch, and then probably pay someone to make us dinner,
Okay.
and then we'll probably watch a lot of RuPaul after the kids go to bed.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
okay.
cool, man.
I love that.
I think that's yeah.
That's a full schedule, man.
yeah. And we're
Whatever
gonna,
she's
thank God
into,
this is
man.
taped. So
Yeah, radio magic.
Oh, I love it.
You're currently watching RuPaul right now as people are listening to this.
Oh man. Yeah.
But that's good though. It's important to, I think for me and you especially, like to just be stoked for people that don't have to feel the way that we feel. You know what I mean?
Honestly, what's so great about me having a shitty mom is that I can just completely 100% focus on my sadness.
Yeah.
I don't have to put any of my energy towards that woman. No, I will. I'll send her the text and hey, love ya.
Yeah, I haven't found you that hey, good try card.
Yeah, yeah.
Or,
Hey,
good
listen,
try, but not so
if
good
anybody's
try.
listening out there, please commission. I'm commissioning you to make me some good
For that daughter who had a horrible mother but still feels obligated to celebrate.
and still loves her and is grateful for her life. So try to squeak that in there if you can. But you know,
you can just have a card say, "I love you." Not going to tell you how much. Just know that I love you.
I love that.
Or some real passive aggressive shit like wish you loved me as much as I love you. Happy Mother's Day.
Oh man. Oh wow. Wow. Okay.
Or it could just be a mirror in there. Here's a picture of your biggest fan.
Oh my gosh. You're commissioned. Okay. You are so good at this. Oh my gosh.
I'll call corporate tomorrow.
So I got a guy. Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be fine. Claire has soccer really early in the morning, so we're going to be traipsing out for traveling soccer, so I'll be kind of busy and yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what the day will bring. I know this is on Mother's Day, but sorry to let you guys down. We taped these before.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I'm gonna do my best to enjoy the day. And you know, no one is ever going to take away the fact that I'm a mother of 2 children, and one of which I was in labor for 20 hours with. I have nothing to show for it now, but I was there.
Box.
I got a fucking box on my piano. Dark.
It's a nice box.
It's a
damn
it
fine
is
box.
A damn fine box.
One of the best box I know of that I've met. It's
I hope that's okay that I said that.
Of course.
Okay.
I welcome it. Yes. Make me laugh. That is the best healing. That's so good. So hey, for all of you moms out there, bereaved or not, for all of the moms that are wishing that you could kill your kids, look at me, okay? You don't want this.
Enjoy your kids before you enjoy the box.
That's yes. Enjoy your kids, and for grown children out there, make sure your mom knows you love them.
for sure.
Love her, and even if she
Appreciate
was
the
terrible,
stupid stuff
Yeah.
because it just
it's not because it's not really stupid.
it's really not. I shouldn't say stupid. I should say like trivial stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
Simple.
Yeah,
Just stuff.
yeah,
Even if you like you just are the type of person that's like, oh, I go visit my mom for an hour or it's the stupidest, like, most cliche thing ever to say, but like, you don't appreciate what you got till it's gone. You know what I mean? It's the
Real
dumbest
talk.
one of them all, but
Real
it's so
talk.
true. It's just so. Yeah, I mean, happy Mother's Day
Happy
to
Mother's Day out
everyone
there. Yeah.
celebrating or just getting through it.
I think for moms, if I can leave one last thought
Yes.
here, time and knowledge. Spend as much time as you can with, your parents, your loved ones, whatever it is. And then when you got to go, leave them with the knowledge that they're loved.
Yeah. I love that. Gosh.
And
Joe, you're officially a part of the show at all times.
To add to the knowledge part, learn as much as you can too.
Yeah.
Like, that's something I think about. Like, I knew my mom pretty well, but anything I didn't, it's too late. So, like, learn everything you can about your people.
Yes. Get to know them as a person, not
Like,
just
everything.
everything.
You'll be glad you did.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. All right, guys. So we'll try not to make it so much time in between.
It's good to be back. It feels good to.
It does. Yeah. To cry on air.
There are tears we cry 'em.
That's right. Get over it.
It wasn't just me this time, so.
It was all of us, and you're welcome. But hey, we love you, and we appreciate you, and we are walking this with you. So in the meantime,
Hang in there, guys.